sons, you could have stayed. It's only over when the day is done. I never knew you was a runner, yeah. I mistook you for a son. It don't matter what we think when it's all over. 'Cause this is our last chance to leave it all behind. Raise your voice and raise your power, yeah. This is our last chance to leave it all behind. Raise your voice and raise your power, yeah.
Archie, is it fun?
Fun.
Fun.
After me. Ready? Happy?
Happy.
New?
New?
New.
Was wrong to say I wouldn't change a thing, 'cause in the story of our lives, the best of times through color glass, time rolls on enough to let me move on past, but every little now and then it creeps on back to shape my smile.
Today is September 12, 2022. It is 12:36 p.m. I didn't record anything this morning because I was a lot of things I needed to do. There's a letter I was supposed to do. I tried to get it out. I still need to look at it again before I send it. And I had a lot of videos to edit. I edited 2 already, and one of them I put out, which is just partial of it. I went on Twitter, and there are some stuff that's going on, and I thought I'll share them with you. This one, I saw it maybe 2 days ago. Yeah, September 10th. At that time, the person who put it out was trying to upload some more, so we were waiting. Me and a couple other people, squaddies, were waiting to see more of the clip. So I just went on Twitter after I finished edit one video, and I saw this same version here. There's a better version of it. So I went back and forth to see, is it the same thing? I didn't listen to it because I want to make sure that I get my full reaction once I start recording. All right, so let's start with this one, and then I have some other tweets to share with you, and I'll go and check the other one to see if it is the same one that if it's the same one as this one. All right, so let's see here. Author Clive Irving tells us what the future of the monarchy could look like following Queen Elizabeth II's death. All right, let's see here.
Let's talk more about the future of the monarchy, shall we?
It's 5 minutes and 4 seconds. I have to stop in between. If you want to watch it completely, it's probably on YouTube. Okay, that's from ABC News Live. Go watch it on YouTube. But for my sake of my video, I have to stop in between. Hopefully I have something important to say. All right.
I welcome in Clive Irving, author of The Last Queen, Elizabeth II's 70-year battle to save the House of Windsor. Clive, great to have you back. You know, as the world has shifted in so many ways during Queen Elizabeth's 7-decade reign, there is speculation now about a possible exodus by some nations from the Commonwealth. Now that Charles is king, what do you expect will happen now?
And so far, Charles have shown some very, I don't know, it's not a good start. The kind of attitude he have shown, if you've seen some other videos, not even from my channels, I'm sure it's going viral because other people are talking about it. His behavior towards staff and things like that. Now people are seeing it with their own two eyes. I've shared some stuff that Royal Rats have spoke of. So now this is the first time we're seeing it with our own two eyes. All right, so let's continue with this.
Well, that's a very significant challenge to Charles. While it's true that the Commonwealth is dedicated to democratic principles and has been an admirable organisation in assuring a basically bloodless transfer from empire and from colonies to the Commonwealth, you can't wipe out the history. And the history really begins with Charles II, who in 1666 founded or gave a royal charter to a company called the Royal African Company. Now that may sound a very grand name, but what it really was a very evil enterprise in that it began shipping slaves from Africa across the Atlantic.
If some of you have been watching my videos, I may have mentioned these things with you guys. I may have mentioned them. And there's one video where I think, what do I have in the as the thumbnails, where I have, I think, a picture, the UK flag, where I have where the Commonwealth located at. I think when I was doing this video, I felt like I got an out-of-body experience where I was trying to look at where the Commonwealth is located at, and I was like, oh my God, this is the plan. They're trying to break the Commonwealth. That way there is a special interest. Someone has a special interest within the Commonwealth. To do that, they cannot do it if they are, united as part of the Commonwealth. I've said it, so many of you, now it's coming true in some shape or form. But that company this gentleman just spoke about, I may have mentioned it in one or two of my videos. I'm gonna move it back slightly, but this one I need to, I already bookmarked it. It needs to be bookmarked. Okay, I'm moving it back slightly. Let's listen.
Called the Royal African Company. Now that may sound a very grand name, but what it really was a very evil enterprise in that it began shipping slaves from Africa across the Atlantic to British colonies in the Caribbean. And at least a quarter of the slaves on those ships didn't survive the journey even. Never mind what happened to them when they ended up in this new plantation culture. You've got to remember that colonialism's basic use was the transferring of other people's natural resources into your own wealth. And in this case, the wealth was very important to the growth of the British Empire. And a lot of, ironically, the monarchs that followed Charles II used a lot of that money coming in from slave trade to build up magnificent art collections.
One of the things, I was not aware of this part here. If the name Charles II was doing this, why would this current Charles to continue that same name and he give himself Charles III? He could have chosen something else. So this is very telling, in my humble opinion. Charles II did that company, I forgot the name, he just mentioned it in this video, to transfer slaves. Many of them were not surviving, and then the way they put the slaves on the ships, which were very inhumane. There's a picture of it. I think I have it in one of my videos, how they line up those slaves into those ships to maximize the amount of people they could transfer at a time. So if this king Charles II did that, why would this current Charles, Prince Charles, the one who just became king, will continue that same name? And then we're having this issue here with his daughter-in-law. So this is something we need to think about.
it used a lot of that money coming in from slave trade to build up magnificent art collections. Quite a lot of that art collection is now residing in Buckingham Palace as part of the Royal Art Collection. So in a sense, the royal treasures are tainted by blood. But it's more important really to think about the human impact of this. And I can understand why Barbados, for example, take an example of tiny Barbados, which broke away last year, no longer wants a British head of state.
I cover that as well, not in full detail, but to as much capacity as I can. All right, I covered that in this channel.
In the 1660s, the value of the sugar crop from Barbados, tiny Barbados, was worth more than all the gold that was shipped to the Spanish Empire from South America. These commodities like sugar, when they were first discovered, like the spices, had enormous wealth, generated enormous wealth for the white supremacists who ran those colonies.
Okay. It's not funny, but I'm giggling because when, you know what, let me not go there.
And even though the British Empire ended slavery in 1834, that was an advance, but actually that masked the truth of the situation, because those societies remained basically white supremacist societies in which the advancements of black people, coloured people, was very difficult for at least another century. And I think that when Kate and William ended up in the Caribbean early this year, as you showed in that previous clip, they were shocked and surprised to find the strength of feeling that remained there.
Right, the reaction.
I did say I was not going to cover the Caribbean tour. I had to, because this was too much. All right, so I covered this also to a certain capacity on this channel.
Yeah, and it's going to be very difficult.
So let me ask you about that, Clive. That is a touchy subject. That's a part of history that needs to be talked about and confronted. And it wasn't for so long. And then that's why that moment created so much controversy and conversation. So moving forward, when we just talk about the slave trade, when we talk about the art at Buckingham Palace, when we talk about, for example, Barbados and the tension you just described and the history that's involved, does this new monarchy need to change? Do these things need to be confronted and talked about? Do we need to hear apologies? Do we need to move forward?
Apology is one thing, reparation is another, because many of these Caribbean countries need to rebuild themselves, their infrastructure and all of that. They need money, not smile, like William said, not smile. They need reparation to rebuild and to be compensated for the amount of the work their ancestors were put through and humane condition to do the work for them to be where they are now. Look at how wealth is passing on from one generation to the other, okay, with the royal family. Many other African countries and black people, these cannot be, they don't have a fraction of that. All right, so this needs to be talked about and they need to be reprimanded
with more of a modern perspective of what happened and be more upfront.
The episode that involved William and Kate shows that they were not sufficiently briefed or even educated on the history of the places that they were sent to. So that shows you that there's not a high level of skilled management.
Wow.
Your basic question is the essential one, really, which is how fast is the learning curve? You can't go on.
How far the learning curve? I'm laughing because they knew all of this were warned. They warned them about it. Harry had warned them about it. Look at the two smartest people there. They kicked them out. Okay, they're not willing to change. It's gonna get worse in the UK. All right, it's gonna get worse. Wow, wow, wow. This is scary listening to this gentleman, and he's talking the truth and he knows his history. My goodness.
Suppressing this kind of history forever. You can't go on shoving it to the side. You've got to deal with one of the big tests of Charles would be to stop whitewashing the history of the Windsors. The history of the Windsors has been systematically whitewashed for at least the last 50 years. They've got to come to terms not with their own direct responsibility. They've got to come to terms with the reputation of the institution.
Yep.
Point well made. Clive, we will continue to talk about that as we move forward. It's an important conversation to have. Clive Irving, thank you so much.
And
let's
there are, I think, 4 videos that I have out. YouTube is still taking its time to review it. I think only the second one, which it's already live. There it is. You guys probably already seen it. All right. And I have 4 other one that is very detailed, not very pleasantly to listen to if you are a Brit. All right. Under the Queen's reign, a lot of things have had happen. And like this guy said, they just whitewash it. All right, so let me see if this one is the same one as that, because it's a thread. Okay, 1 minute. Oh, it's minutes and minutes. Okay, so it's probably the same thing. Yeah, it's the same. Maybe not, because they're showing the side here. But let's listen here. I'm only playing it to see if it's the same thing that I just shared with you. Okay, Irish tea scholar Sandra's Blunt, 1958, admission that the anti-Meghan was fueled by her American. Okay, so this might be different. I'll come back to that. Let me read some of the comments under this. I'm sorry, I'm going back and forth. All right, this man was phenomenal, and I hope you have him on again. Thanks you, Clive, for speaking truth to power. The Queen was and now Charles is the head of the Church of England, this entity that also carry out atrocities in their name, but the Bible says, quote, no sin will ever go unpunished, end quote, God's justice is sure. Okay, he says transfer, I say still, transfer still, etc. Okay, so true. Too late now. Let's see, let's just see. I think the world was waiting for America, I've said this before, to continue that same kind of demonic kind of way. And the midterm election in the US is very crucial, because I think every head of whatever those countries, like the UK, you name it, they were ready to continue that same nonsense. I think Charles is ready. I think he's ready. When you look at his connection with people in the Middle East and all of that, he's ready to continue that same kind. Something just fell out of my desk. To the same kind of behavior. All right. I want to hear more about this from him. Wow, Clive Irving is the voice of knowledge and wisdom that I didn't know I needed. Outstanding, sir. Oh, yeah, he knows his history. He went back from, which I wasn't aware of, from Charles II, who started the slave trade and all of that. I may have known, but it didn't process in my brain. But anyway, OMG, thank you so much, ABC. I am here in the UK, and this is so refreshing to see honesty and truth broadcast. The UK will never admit how much they have made from selling men, women, children, babies for profit. That wealth is evident today in all the big families. That's right. As recently, which I raised in one of my videos, was that Prime Minister? Is it David Cameron or something? Not too long ago, he was just finished paid, when I said just, maybe a couple years ago, from reparation from his family, who was profiting from slave trade after they abolished slavery, this kind of thing, and his family lost money, and he was just finished being paid his ancestors. Okay, I spoke about it in one of my videos. Okay, a must watch and listen. This man, I want to hear more. Wow, refreshing and informative. All right, there's this this video clip is informative. Thank you, sir. King Charles can be traditional or transformational monarch. While he might be limited with the thing he says or does, he can right this wrong. Example.
My wife said recently that our generation and the ones before us haven't done enough to right the wrongs of the past. I too am sorry. Sorry that we haven't got the world to the place that you deserve it to be. Institutional racism has no place in our societies, yet it is still endemic. Unconscious bias must be acknowledged without blame to create a better world for all of you. I want you to know that we are committed to being part of the solution and to being part of the change that you are all leading. Now is the time, and we know that you can do it.
He can right this wrong. Example, start selling the royal collection and donate to reparation efforts. Creative ways to make this right, starting with Harry and Meghan, an apology. Okay, and to be clear, I don't mean that they sell items belonging to other countries. They have plenty of other art and valuable bought from ill-gotten gains. There's this person I follow on Twitter. He's an art person, and I don't share too much of it. There's some stuff he be sharing that's very informative. Even in the US, some museum have to return some pieces back to its original owners and things like that. I'm telling you, if you follow the right people on social media, believe me, social media can be very, very toxic. I've shared some stuff with you. Sometimes I randomly come up with, while reading tweets like this, and I'll read some very meaningful things. But if you follow the right people, you will be very informed of some things. And then from what they tell you on Twitter, you could easily go and search some more to see if what they're saying is right. All right, let me go back to this to see if it's the same thing that this person was saying. Alright, so I'm done with the other tweet. Okay, Irish T scholar and Sandra's Blonde 1958 admission that the anti-Meghan was fueled by her American work ethic as well as misogyny and race fuel. Beans are being spilled, and I'm here for it. Harry and Meghan, bless them as they navigate the next week in the bowels of the firm. Alright, let's play this.
I can't help but wonder how much of a loss it was for the British public.
Okay, so that's from MSNBC, so that's completely different. Okay, I'm glad I didn't delete this one because the other version is much clearer, so it's different. The other one was from ABC and this one is from MSNBC. All right, let's listen.
As a whole, but also people of color here, to see her savaged in the way she was, to see this alienation and the allegations that the two of them have made that their baby's skin color might have been an issue.
Yeah, I think there's another factor here too, that Meghan is a very professional woman, and she's very American in that way. And the male-dominated culture, the royal household, doesn't like the kind of terms that they would use there, pushy and pushy American. They don't like pushy Americans, meaning that they don't like.
This is the same guy. That's the same guy, but he is on another network. Very informative guy. He's telling the truth here. Wow.
Like pushy Americans, meaning that they don't like professional people who work hard. And a lot of the Debbie kind of girls who get to work inside the palace work from about 9 to 12 and then take the rest of the day off. And Meghan was very impatient with that. She wanted to see a new work ethic, maybe a work ethic as strong as the Queen's herself.
Wow. Very strong ethic. Maybe someone mentioned something like that in one of the comments. So maybe there was some sort of a connection between Meghan and the Queen in that sense. Let me listen this last part here.
Work from about 9 to 12 and then take the rest of the day off.
9 to 12.
Meghan was very impatient with that. She wanted to see a new work ethic, maybe a work ethic as strong as the Queen's herself.
Wow. So maybe that's why these people are calling her a bully, because they were working. Oh, let me pause that. Maybe these people who were claiming bullying, they weren't even working that much. So when Meghan wants things to be done and then they off 9 to 12, it's just what? Just 3 hours. My goodness. And then things needs to be done and then they're not there, this and that, and they took the day off. Oh my goodness. All right, let's see here. It continues. A minute and 23 seconds.
It was the royal household. And I think there was not just a racial thing, but the anti-American thing, which should never be underestimated. A strong feeling of resentment that somehow American culture and manners are too vulgar to be accommodated within the palace. And I think that Meghan had never encountered that kind of friction before. The combination.
She did say that. She did say it, well, in terms of race and things like that. But the overall of it, this guy is saying almost the same thing that Meghan was saying. Was it the cut or some interviews. Okay, too many information. I don't know where I got it, but I've heard that before. All right, let's listen.
That kind of fiction before, the combination of the feeling that perhaps she was the wrong skin colour, but most of all, that she was a very strong-willed, professional, independent woman.
That's right.
The same thing happened to Diana.
Can I tell a little story? Please. Before they split up, Charles and Diana twice a year would have a program meeting where they would sit with their staffs and plan their diaries for the next 6 months. And this had obviously begun when the Prince was a bachelor, as a kind of a get-together with his close advisors to decide what they were going to do. And it had morphed into this huge meeting. The Prince's people on one side of a long table, and Diana and her people on the other. And the last couple of these meetings that we had, I can remember there was Diana and me, and maybe a lady in waiting. And there'd be maybe 20, 30, 40 people on the other side of the table. It was a stark visual reminder of what had happened to what had been previously a united household. But because we were that small, it reflected Diana's own preferences to be responsive, to react quickly to things, and she didn't like red tape. She was very good at doing her work, very disciplined, but she didn't like officialdom. So one time, the Prince of Wales was debating whether or not to do a particular engagement, and he wondered if his mother might do it instead, and his private secretary said, well, I will write a memo to the Queen's private secretary. And Diana leaned across the table and said, there's a telephone over there, why don't you pick it up and ask her yourself? And he did, like a man in a date. And he went to the telephone, he picked it up, he got put through to the Queen. The Queen said, yes, of course I'll do it. And he came and sat back at the table and looked at Diana as if she was some sort of a miracle worker, because everything else was a wonderful British bureaucracy. Diana knew how to cut through it to get what was required.
Diana wasn't in the same sense a professional woman. She had to learn that kind of hostility. And I think that Meghan was probably smart enough now to realise that she can navigate her way back into that situation and avoid that kind of... But she can only do that, and Harry can only do that, if they are understood as a successful couple.
Bingo.
And this nonsense about she made him do it, which you hear all the time in the British press. Oh, if Harry does something, he made him do it.
Oh my God, I always said that. It's like they're really degrading Harry in some shape or form when they're saying things like that. Like Harry doesn't have a brain on his own. This guy is hitting the nail on the head. Exactly.
Nonsense about she made him do it, which you hear all the time in the British press. Oh, if Harry does something, he made him do it, which is a criticism of Harry's own agency, which is appalling, really.
Exactly.
He's a strongly independent person with a very strong military record. Don't forget this, he had a very strong military career. He saw battle and the horrors of battle in Afghanistan in a way that no other member of the royal family has seen.
That's true.
Meghan understood that, but they didn't.
That's right. That is right. This guy is spot on. All right, there's another clip, 1 minute and 6 seconds.
I think this story is overbaked and overpromoted. There was a genuine rift there. But it doesn't mean that, as one of your previous guests said, that time couldn't heal this wound. And now I'm hoping, and the intention is there on the part of King Charles that this should happen. I'm hoping that they can mend that rift, because I think that the incompatibility of Harry and Meghan in the royal family was discovered almost too abruptly. They felt that there was some kind of, not just racial, but alien pressure against them. And that was partly because I think that Harry and Meghan were, it reminds me in a way of the way that Diana had a moment when she decided she could only exist by leaving.
The campaign was, in that point, was being successful. But it did surprise the people who were causing the grief. It did surprise them when I took myself out of the game. They hadn't expected that. And I'm a great believer that you should always confuse the enemy.
Who was the enemy?
Well, the enemy was my husband's department, because I always got more publicity my work was discussed much more than him, and from that point of view, I understand it.
And they had that terrible moment by deciding they could only survive by leaving. So the question is now, can they come back and still survive as a successful couple together?
Nah, they can't come back. They can't come back. The pain, the agony, it was just too much. They've done too much pain. Especially what you heard happen in one of Meghan's podcasts. What happened to Archie's room? Can you imagine? They have the heart, okay? They have the heart to do this kind of thing to a baby? A baby who can defend himself. How the hell will you go back to this? And this was not the only thing. There's other things we somewhat aware of, but we don't know the full detail. And I'm pretty sure there's others we don't even know about. What about the night nanny that was fired? What happened that night where Harry and Meghan had to fire that nanny? Okay, so I don't think they can come back. Because if they could do this, someone with that kind of mentality and that kind of, how do you call this? That inner belief to do this kind of thing to a baby who cannot defend himself, why would you go back to this? If they could do that to a baby, what do you think they could do to you? So this guy is pretty good. He knows exactly what he's talking about, and I think he's the same guy. Let me see. He's wearing a glasses. Let's see here. Is he wearing a glasses here? I think that's the same guy. He's very brilliant. He hit the nails on the head on both stations. This one is MSNBC and the other one was ABC. All right, let's see here. Thank you, you did it. I'm saying thank you to the person who posted, because I think it was since the 10th she was trying to post it and she was having issues uploading it, and she finally did it when I came across it, and I said thank you, you did it. Okay, the only actual example of bullying, bear this out. Staff was angry with Meghan for texting them as early as 5 a.m. and outside of normal hours. And this guy just hit the nail on the head as well with this. They work from 9 to 12. And then when Meghan wants stuff from them, they get upset and they call that bully. So the squad won't. I'm telling you, squaddies are brilliant. They are geniuses. This was the only thing the squad had to say, the 5 a.m. email, they consider that as bullying. And I think that was the reason why they feel like it was a bullying.
One eternity later.
Okay, and the UK should also be questioning those people who work in those offices for those royals. How much money are they being paid, and then they're not working that long? Okay, how much are they producing for during a day for these people? Do they need to work? If they're not working full time, maybe, I don't know. What is the normal hours? Okay, let's compare to the NHS. Okay, NHS, I believe, is the healthcare people in the UK. Maybe they should compare those healthcare workers' payment in comparison to those royals. They're probably getting paid from, essential workers, and then they're not even working full time. That's the only way I see this. And then, I don't know, those taxpayers' money that's going to the royal family, I don't know. All right, making her Markle, demanding Meghan Markle email staff instruction as early as 5 a.m. It's claimed as personal assistant quits in tears. Oh my God. We talk about this so many times. Emails, you pick it up whenever you want, but we talk about this already. Okay, that's so true. Seldom that I hear something this positive on any international TV channel about Meghan. I always say from the beginning that Meghan was a league too high for the stiff upper lip Brits and their antiquated monarchy punctum. This is the kind of a person American media should have instead of the like of arbiters and Jobson, who are palace insiders. That's right. That is right. Okay, I was about to tear my hair. I was about to tear my hair out Thursday and Friday. Every single British reporter on every American news channel has outright lied and smeared Meghan at one time or another. MSNBC even dragged out Victoria Arbiter, and that really pissed me off. Really? Wow, I wasn't aware of that. Okay, I changed channels so I don't have to watch and listen to this so-called royal clown expert talk as if they know every inch of Harry and Meghan's life. Okay, nice to know my tax pay for posh a-hole to work 3 hours. This is what I was saying. 3 hours a day. Hope the whole institute burns down sooner rather than later. I was just saying that. Okay, compare the amount of the NHS get paid per day or per hours or whatever it may be, and then how much these people are getting. Because when I see those monies going to the royal family, it's in millions for a year, and then oh my god. But anyway, do we feed and dine these palace workers too? That's what I think is happening too. Okay, yes. This reminds me when First Lady Dr. Jill Biden was surprised when they ended the meeting with Kate. I know. I tried to share this video with you so many times. YouTube keep on blocking it. I have it. Yep, it's where they're sitting on the on a table. They were discussing some really important things, and then when they start talking to Kate, they stop the thing. Okay, and that's when they asked Kate, did she see Lilibet, or did they talk to Lilibet or something like that? Her eyes lit up like, what the F you asking me that for? Alright, she wanted to discuss and know more about the subject. They really are lazy. Yep. Yep. Lest the truth comes out. Amen. I am so heartbroken for them both and terrified too. I just want them home with their babies and safe. Okay, why on earth should the Sussexes come back and be financially dependent on Charles and William? Yep, I don't think they're coming back. I agree. I want them back home in California with their babies home, and my mid for them is California, not UK. Okay, I always think some of the workplace hostility and screams of she wants to change the monarchy was because she had expectation of professionalism and real impactful work in her role. More West Wing, less take your debutante to work day, and a lazy work shy retired debutante wannabe at that. And this is the thing, this is why they have that system going on. Okay, the system of colonialism, because they are freaking lazy. They are lazy. They don't want to do the work. When you look at Charles, first day of his job, trying to sign a paper, the way he's talking to those people, he can't even freaking pick up that small little tray to hand it over to the aide. Alright, his hand is so close to it, he can't even pick it up. He's like brushing it, afraid to even pick it up. They can't do shit. They cannot do a damn thing. If these people decided to quit on them, how are they gonna survive? Okay, let's see here. They rarely are willing to say this in the British media. Well, actually, the British press will likely not have him that is true, have him on if they knew he was going to say this. That is true. I mean, when you look at it now, don't be surprised. The UK is almost like the way what is it, not Soviet Union, Russia is running, because when they tell the truth they fire those people. Okay, there is zero chance this will have aired if he said it on British news station. Finally, an unpitchable senior member of the media who gets it and is willing to say it in public. Meghan was the victim of racism and abuse because lazy members of the royal household, including William and Kate, loathed her work ethic, her race, and her success.
The decision that I have made for my wife and I to step back is not one I made lightly. It was so many months of talks after so many years of challenges. And I know I haven't always gotten it right, but as far as this goes, there really was no other option.
Right, now I know why Katie Third NBC was trending. God bless her. At least she did not shy away from discussing the issue. Who is this? Katie Third. Katie Third report, 2 p.m. MSNBC. Okay, correspondent, author, and okay. Alright. So that probably the person who was interviewing. If I have to work 3 hours a day and take the rest of the day off, I'll wait 10 years to get that ring on. I'm telling you. Oh wow, the stone cold truth for once. Alright, quote, maybe a work ethic as strong as the Queen's herself, and they had a problem with that. Meghan understood her husband's independence and agency better than his own family. Okay, I don't see the Sussexes ever coming back. What for? Yeah, this is why Harry and Meghan are successful. Their work ethic, they work hard, and then they think the freaking title is gonna make them gonna change something. I know some people already asking, I forgot what I said in the video, but they were questioning some stuff that I said in the video. That's why I like put the timestamp so I could go straight to it, because I'm not gonna sit and listen to me on the video completely. But Harry and Meghan are hard workers. All right, wow, he said it out of his mouth, and I love it. About damn time. Okay, I'm glad you posted this. I too recorded this. Right, this makes a lot of sense given the complaints KP staff made about 5 a.m. email. They never seen this before. This is why they had to put a halt on it and get her out of here, and so they could start back. That 3 hours, oh my god, it's like she's putting us to work. Let's team up and gang on her so she could get out of there, because she's making us work, and then they're getting paid. They're getting paid. Now the cat is out of the bag. It's not just Meghan who's saying from 9 to 12. What in the name? Wow. Let's see here. Meghan work ethic is as strong as the Queen herself. I've always seen this. Even Meghan's haters never call her lazy. Okay, I've seen it. I've seen them claim she didn't want to put in the work of a royal as part of why they separated, totally disregarding Harry and Meghan proposed half in, half out, and were denied. Okay, she wanted to work. She was savage within months of the wedding for it.
I know the fact that she'll be really unbelievably good at the job part of it as well is obviously a huge relief to me, because she'll be able to deal with everything else that comes with it. But no, you know, we're a fantastic team. We know we are, and we hope to, you know, over time try and have as much impact for all the things that we care about as much as possible.
I am very excited about that, yeah.
And Meghan, given your acting and the profile you had, you'd already been involved in various causes. You've been an ambassador for UN Women. What about this new role? I mean, you're going to have a bigger platform, a bigger voice. What do you want to do with it?
Really exciting as we talk about the transition of this out of my career but into the role, is that, as you said, the causes that have been very important to me I can focus even more energy on, because very early out of the gate I think you realize once you have access or a voice that people are willing to listen to, with that comes a lot of responsibility, which I take seriously. And at the same time, I think in these beginning few months and now being boots on the ground in the UK, I'm excited to just really get to know more about the different communities here, smaller organizations who are working on the same causes that I've always been passionate about under this umbrella. And also being able to go around to the Commonwealth. I think it's just the beginning of a...
There's a lot to do.
Really?
There's a lot to do.
Okay, I saw this live. It was glorious. I'm so glad to hear this take, Clive Irving. I have a lot of respect for you. Alright? Afterwards here, that's it. They mainly hate Meghan because she showed up to the office to actually work. Lord. What is it? Omid says something like that. Because I have that clip somewhere, or it's in one of my videos, where Meghan will pop in the office. Or is it... I don't think it was Meghan. Maybe it was one of the... US presenters, Entertainment Tonight, I think, who said it. Meghan will come in and ask question about the person, what they're talking about, the background, the history of things, and all of that. They didn't want to do the work, because Meghan did not just want them to hand her a paper and then just go recite something. Yeah, I've heard that. I'll look for that clip. Okay, no wonder they can't get away with paying the peasants so little. Okay, Americans work hard, long hours, and little vacation times. Meghan work over 12 hours or more hours a day on set of her show Suits. That's right. Okay, the debutante girls. No wonder those dedicated pinaples felt bullied. I mean, who actually work these days? Get there at 9, have your boss make you... have your boss make your coffee from 9 to 11, then it 11 says touch up your makeup, and take off to lunch at 12, a full day that is. How does that work in 2016 when no one knew of her work ethic? Because it doesn't. Her race, whether fundamentally being mixed race, biracial, or having African ancestry, was always the deal breaker. Misogyny is a false equivalency. No white woman has experienced this. Okay, they blew it. Meghan was poised to be the next Anne, a popular member of the family who took on a tons of work. Will's make a mess for himself. Harry's new life won't fall into his old one. That's right. Okay, why Meghan will settle for playing the role of Anne was fulfilling about unveiling Claire. I don't think this is to that part here. Whatever the royals do, all right, in that sense, and in a way also, I've been saying it in my videos, Anne is the only out of, get Harry out of this group. All right, Harry is in a league of his own. But when you look at the rest of the royals, Anne in particular, she doesn't give a shit. She act like a royal, and then she doesn't make excuses. They told her to whatever workload, go cut ribbons, go do this. She does it. Okay, for the lifestyle that she's living, and she doesn't make excuses pretending to be this while she's doing something in the background. I'm not with them 24/7, but at least some of the thing that I'm seeing, okay, it seems like she's the real deal to me. Okay, nobody, she didn't put a gun in people's head, the taxpayers, and say, give me your taxpayers so I could live lavishly. She didn't do that. So the taxpayers are more than happy to give her their tax dollars to live the lavish lifestyle, so she's not making any excuses for that. So this is that aspect, not everything else, but that aspect of it. This is why I respect Anne. And one thing that I saw, I don't have it here, but I'll put the screenshot of it when I'm editing. Anne was the only one that I see who show, I don't know about, well, in that particular picture, who was showing respect for the Queen. She did her courtesy for the coffin when the Queen passed. So that tells you something. Okay, let's go to the next tweet. I don't have that many tweets to share with you, but I'm already 39 minutes.